Ok, c'est good. Juste pour m'assurer que le truc soit bien. Ok. Je comprends pas trop ce que ça change. Ah oui, d'accord, ok, ça change toute la déco.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
C'est même pas le truc que j'ai pris. Putain, c'est vaste, hein. Gem Circle. Ah oui, d'accord, ok. Attends, on va faire le trou sans fond. Time depth. Space like infinity. C'est vraiment des putains de trolls, quoi.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Bon, bah...
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Fais sur triomphe pour revenir à la surface.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
On est vraiment bas, quoi.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, the things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
T'as envie de le provoquer, quoi.
Great.
On appuie.
Now, I'm very excited to show you even... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole.
On peut pas s'en empêcher quoi.
This starts to become a thing where...
Il est plus plus court.
Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
C'est un putain de troll, c'est
Still
insupportable.
nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
Quel enfoiré quoi. Bah du coup, est-ce qu'il va me pousser à redémarrer le jeu ou pas? Ah la vache, c'est quoi ce bruit? C'est quoi cette ambiance sonore? Oh la vache! La musique est géniale. Ah, la musique est ouf! Quel jeu incroyable quoi! Oh! Ah, il me ressemble un peu, hein! Incroyable! Ils sont cons, mais c'est incroyable quoi!
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer. You.
Ça fait super peur!
Stanley? 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 Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. want to miss a
Ouais,
single.
c'était hilarant,
So
quoi.
how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the whole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Quel enfoiré, quoi. T'es vraiment de retour dans le pays des songes, quoi. Ouais. Ah d'accord, ils nous font popper ici maintenant, quoi. Ok.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Bon, le trou, on a vu ce que c'était pas mal. Mais du coup, le trou, on n'a pas fini complètement. Attends, c'était quoi ça? Collectibles? Attends, non, on va retourner au trou. Parce que du coup, il faut... Attends. Donc non, je pense pas que ça change grand chose. Attends, le bouton, on a vu. On était par là. Jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Lul, ça va te ramener un trophée. Le trophée s'appelle non sérieux, on a désactivé l'option. Attends, là il y a un new trophy. Attends, mais je suis perdu. Il est où le trou sans fond là? Freezy Trophy, on n'a pas vu. Collectibles, on n'a pas vu. Exit, ok. Ah, une salle. Epilogue, Infinity Wall, c'est K. Et le K, il est où? Oui, d'accord, on n'est pas à côté. Je sais pas s'il y avait des trucs. Bon, attends, on y retournera plus tard. Ah bah, il est juste là. Ok, bon. On va faire le Freezy Trophy. Ça me gratte le... Pull the lever, receive your new trophy, no more steps.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Mais ça me parle le trophée bloqué aussi dans les scandales de... Un trophée qui marchait pas ou je sais plus quoi.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Quelle bande de trolls. Attends, mais c'est pas du tout le chemin qu'on a pris à l'aller, ça, si? Ah si.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Qu'est-ce qu'on a vu? Collectibles, on n'a pas vu.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up, You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
C'est un peu glauque, hein. Tu veux? Quelle bande de trolls.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Du coup, il y a une sortie là-bas. Ok, Jumple Circle, this map, free trophy, this button, ok. Merch. Z, on a vu le merch, je crois. Setting World Champion, c'est dièse. Setting World Champion. C'est pas très clair. La carte est pas claire. C'est juste en face du merch. Et juste à côté de B2 qui est Réassurance Bucket. Réassurance Bucket, c'est où? Ah, le merch est là-bas. Réassurance Bucket. Ah, voilà. Et ça, ici, on est déjà venu.
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Saut de réconfort. Ah bah c'est ça, réassurance bucket. Ah oui. Ok.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
Bande de cognos, quoi.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
J'ai l'impression qu'on commence doucement à avoir fait le tour, à minima des grandes salles, quoi. Mais dès que je passe à côté de ça, ça bip. Please no screenshot. Il se passe quoi si j'en fais un? Je fais un screenshot avec mon... J'ai fait un screenshot avec la PS, enfin avec la console dans le doute, quoi. Donc ici, ouais, le bucket on a vu. Nos screenshots ça on a vu. Le merch. Ok. Collectibles, Easy Trophy. Donc on a une exit là-bas. Là c'est le wall chelou. Jump cycle. Là, il y a un escalier qui monte, on sait pas où est-ce qu'il va, on va le regarder. Ok, ça on connaît. On va prendre cet escalier. On peut monter encore, on peut aller là. On va aller là.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley?
Ah, c'est le fameux épilogue.
Yes, it will go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
C'est vraiment des putains de trolls, c'est génial quoi. Il y a le putain de saut là qui fait un boucan pas possible, c'est insupportable. C'est fermé quoi. Bon. Bah écoutez, si c'est fermé, je sais pas trop ce qu'il nous reste à faire ici. On peut prendre l'exit. Pour ce qu'il en cuit. J'ai l'impression qu'on a fait le tour. J'ai l'impression qu'on a fait le tour. Bah écoutez, ouais, on va aller vers l'exit. De toute façon, je sais très bien comment ça va se passer. Tout ça va falloir le faire, le refaire. Office Decoration, ok. Ouais, tout ça on a vu. Hein. Okay. Exit c'est E. You're here. Exit. Ça on est monté là-haut aussi. Hein. Ouais. Comment on sort de cet enfer? Ah pardon, c'est à gauche. J'avais pas vu. Elles sont assez belles les...
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Oui, il y a probablement une fin aussi, aller directement à l'exit sans rien regarder. Enfin, j'ai toujours mon putain de seau dans la main, quoi.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oui, ils sont très forts.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company
putain,
in a
c'est la
big
déco,
building where he was employee
Attends, du coup, on va
number
laisser le générique.
427.
Bah, allez, mets une petite clope.
Employee
Putain, qu'est-ce que je
number
fume?
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley
Was
was
happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
On peut
memo.
toujours pas sauter. Ah, le saut. On peut le prendre.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Insupportable ce saut.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
On va refaire le jeu classique, voir ce qui se passe.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Sachant que le saut est censé me donner les réponses à toutes mes questions.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
Mais oui, en plus j'y ai
You can
pensé.
feel
Le
that,
troll.
can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is
En
purely
plus que je
superficial
peux pas
and
le laisser le
convenient?
saut donc.
That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
De toute façon, je peux rien faire. Hein.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
J'ai été un peu vite. Après, il y a une bathroom, je crois. Oh!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Ah merde, c'est 2845.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Après voilà, oui, si jamais la Deluxe Edition c'est refaire toutes les fins avec le bucket.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
On peut refaire la fin basique, voir un peu ce qui se
The
fait avec
elevator
le saut.
raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Fuck.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oui, cette scène est toujours aussi impressionnante. On s'en lasse pas, quoi.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on
Ça ressemble vachement à la BO du court-métrage Portal.
Begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
Lul.
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped?
Lul.
Was
Incroyable.
Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this
Je vois
very room.
vraiment plus rien par
But
contre.
at least
Mais
he
vraiment
has
plus rien,
the
quoi.
bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
On peut peut-être se refaire une fin classique.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Figure
missed
in
a memo.
Strangers Committee. Ok, il y a toujours le saut, quoi. On va pas le prendre ce coup-ci, on va refaire des fins classiques. On va faire les 2-3 fins principales.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Lul.
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
faire la
walked
fin,
upstairs to his
escape.
boss's office.
Loul, j'en étais sûr.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left
Ah
his
putain
post
merde,
during
j'ai
work
pris une
hours.
autre...
He might be fired for that.
J'ai fait une autre fin sans faire
And in
exprès.
such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
C'est incroyable.
This
Oh,
is
c'est
all a
incroyable.
dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
C'est incroyable.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Franchement, je suis sur le cul de comment c'est écrit. C'est vraiment du putain de génie.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named
Ah putain,
Mariella.
Mariella, incroyable.
Mariella woke up on a day like any
Ah oui,
other.
non, je m'en souviens, je
She
me sens que
rose, got
c'est hyper
dressed,
émouvant, je crois.
gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Je m'en souviens, j'ai une anecdote. Attends. Je dis rien parce que je suis sur le cul, quoi.
She stood there, staring down at the body, and then she turned and ran.
J'ai une anecdote, c'est que toute cette fin-là, en fait, je l'avais réécrite, je l'avais regardé, j'avais regardé une vidéo YouTube et je l'avais réécrite sur un bloc-notes sur mon PC, quoi. Tellement je trouvais que c'était bien écrit. Après, voilà, c'était en 2013, 2014, j'en sais rien, quoi, que j'ai fait ce jeu. Et oui, j'avais tellement été sur le cul que oui, que j'avais tout réécrit, quoi. Donc là, je pense que j'ai fait la fin, descendre des escaliers, je crois. Donc là, on va faire la fin. Là, on va faire la fin escape, du coup. L'enfoiré. Il en a tellement marre, quoi. Donc j'ai dû descendre et on va monter.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Je crois que c'est ça la connerie que j'ai faite. On va checker par acquis de conscience s'il y a un truc là-dedans. Oh. C'est 28-45 ou 25-48?
You know the drill by now. Blah blah blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise!
C'est justement génial d'avoir fait ça, quoi. Enfin oui, non mais c'est du génie, quoi. Je me demande si tu quittes le jeu et que tu le relances, qu'est-ce qui se passe, quoi. Est-ce qu'il garde en mémoire tes fins ou est-ce qu'à chaque fois c'est vraiment un redémarrage Parce que vu que les fins ne sont pas interconnectés, si ce n'est voilà, quelques détails, genre là la broom room qu'ils ont.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Effectivement, je crois que ça mène au suicide, là.
To walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Et d'accord, c'est vraiment la mort, quoi. Ah non.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
La DA est folle, quoi. Enfin... Ah oui, je crois que c'est
When
la vraie
every
fin.
path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Oui, c'est une sorte de vraie fin. Putain, ils sont quand même nombreux à avoir bossé sur le jeu, hein. Ah, c'est Kivan Brightening, le narrateur. Brighting. Et l'impeccable Kivan Brightening en tant que le narrateur. Oui, finalement, cette salle peut arriver hyper vite dans le jeu. Du coup, je sais pas trop s'il y a un chemin principal, un chemin secondaire. C'est assez vaste, hein.
Then he pushed the number 8. And finally, he pushed the number 9. Nothing there? Shoot. Well, try the other one then. Stanley pushed the big red button. Now look.
Et c'est génial de montrer tout ça. Enfin, celle du compte à rebours, c'est sûr qu'il y a un truc à faire. Il faudrait que je refasse cette fin. pas beaucoup d'évolution. Putain, je me souvenais plus que c'était aussi grandiose. How do you stay in shape? Merde. Are you gay? Quelle bande de trolls, quoi. Sequel, prequel, standalone. Oh putain, ça va trop vite. Desert boats. How do we make a JRPG? How do we make the worst game ever? What's the difference between the duck? C'est génial d'avoir mis ça. Are you a walk? Question. What is Stanley's last name? Cult. Oula. Ouais, j'y retournerai, je me les ferai tous. Au début du développement, nous avons imaginé une fin où Stanley se retrouvait sur un champ de bataille contre des extraterrestres. Le jeu développerait sa propre intelligence et partirait en guerre contre le narrateur. Nous avons réalisé peu après que c'était pousser la blague trop loin et que c'était peut-être trop plat par rapport au ton du jeu. Certains l'ont aussi vu comme une manière de nous moquer des amateurs de jeux de tir, ce qui n'était pas du tout notre but. Ah bah on arrive là, ok. Bah je pense qu'on a fait le tour plus ou moins. Attends, y'a quoi là? Ah, il y a les mails. Ça va, Attends, on a vu ça? Non, ça on avait vu. Et enfin, tu sais, voilà. L'une des premières versions du show menant à la fin de l'appartement. Putain, il y a plein de fins que j'ai pas fait de bordel. Enfin oui, tu sais, Le Source Engine, c'est quand même c'est un moteur graphique et physique de marché, quoi. Je suppose qu'il est éprouvé, que ça doit être bourré de tutos, etc. Donc voilà, oui, il y a un boulot de ouf dans le jeu, il a pas de problème, hein. Mais tu sais, c'est difficile d'imaginer qu'il y ait besoin d'autant de personnes quand même, tu vois. Tu sais, je peux pas m'empêcher de me dire, attends, what, 30 personnes pour faire tout ça, quoi? Tu sais, t'as l'impression que deux trois développeurs, c'est suffisant, quoi.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game.
Incroyable.
As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do,
Oui, c'est
choose it.
peut-être
Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
incroyable. Ça vaudrait presque le coup de refaire la fin en essayant effectivement de cliquer sur recommencer le jeu. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Attends, what? Mais ça a changé, hein? Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate.
En plus, ça c'est
beautifully
probablement
constructed room.
une fin que des gens ont
Stanley
fait.
simply stood here,
Une des fins que les gens font en
drinking it
premier,
all
quoi.
in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Peut-être qu'on peut se foutre en l'air là. Do not jump from the cargo. Will cause death. On peut essayer de se voir.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Lul! Mais ça change, il change à chaque
All
fois.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Qu'est-ce qui se
mean?
passe?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
J'arrive pas à comprendre pourquoi ça change en fait.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Je sais pas si ça ramène exactement, bon, on l'apprendra tout à l'heure. Si ça ramène vraiment dans la ligne directrice classique.
He wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. I'm
Si ça se trouve, il y a une fin où tu peux sauter sur un camion et ne pas mourir.
Someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Je suis presque sûr qu'on peut sauter. Enfin, ça me paraît hyper cohérent qu'on puisse sauter sur ce truc-là. Et là, c'est back dans le
Already,
truc
this was
normal.
uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct
On va
way to the
retenter parce que
meeting
ça me
room,
paraît
and
vraiment
Stanley knew it
possible.
perfectly well.
Visuellement, ça me
Perhaps he
paraissait
wanted to
possible,
stop
quoi.
by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art.
Pour le coup, en plus, ça me dit rien. Enfin,
Eager to
j'ai
get
aucun
back to
souvenir si
business,
cette fin est possible ou
Stanley
pas, quoi,
took the
mais...
first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ça me paraît complètement obvious
Look,
qu'on
Stanley,
puisse
I
aller là,
think
quoi.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been
Fuck,
about in his
putain.
eagerness to prove that he... A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped
Peut-être que
shortly
c'est pas
after.
possible.
Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Je peux plus me le voir, ce saut. Je l'ai trop vu. On va pas retenter de la même manière. On va attendre de voir où le monde charge nous monte au plus haut, quoi. Peut-être enfin, visuellement, ça paraît obvious qu'on puisse le faire, quoi.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Mais ça paraît évident.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Yes.
Really?
Je le savais.
In the middle of something, do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger everywhere. Pour le coup, aucun souvenir de cette fin, quoi, donc ça fait dire. Surtout que j'ai jamais faite.
Now listen carefully.
Ah oui, porte, oui, ça, ok, si, ça me parle.
Stanley walked through the red door. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anmarines. None of us can.
Il a dit quoi, porte rouge, hein? Vas-y, on va rester dans la dissidence.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
On va rester dans la dissidence. Pas dans la...
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking
C'est
a look
assez
at
dur
it, would
de
you?
parler, enfin vu qu'il y a
Perfect.
le...
Let me boot it up.
Enfin voilà, oui, c'est vrai que c'est hyper dur
In
de,
this game,
de
the baby
commenter,
crawls left towards danger.
de commenter
You click the
par-dessus la voix du
button to
narrateur,
move
quoi.
him back to the
C'est hyper...
right,
Même si c'est
and
de
if he
l'anglais, c'est hyper
reaches the
perturbant de
fire,
parler
you
par-dessus quelqu'un qui
fail.
parle.
It's
En
a
plus, c'est
very
chez au casque,
meaningful
donc c'est
game,
d'autant plus
all
perturbant,
about the
quoi.
desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Insupportable.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha!
What?
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
C'est quoi, c'est The
What's
Forest?
our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Est-ce que c'est une parodie de The Forest Le Source Engine, voilà, oui. Ah oui, ça a pris un coup de vieux, on est d'accord. Hein. Mais il a une patte qui est telle que, je sais pas, c'est bien, quoi. J'ai l'impression que je pourrais faire 50 heures sur un jeu source, quoi. Après, là, à mon avis, on est en 4K, tout le bordel. Enfin, oui, je pense que Stanley Parable, déjà en 2013, ne ressemblait pas à ça, quoi.
No, it can't be.
Oui, je sais pas,
It
c'est beau,
is.
c'est coloré.
It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Après, ça avec Source, j'ai l'impression que c'est quand même vraiment un moteur d'intérieur, quoi. C'est quoi, c'est Rocket League?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
Mais ça,
Just a
c'était pas dans le
nice
jeu
big
original,
box
hein.
thing
J'ai
to
jamais
run
fait ça.
There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this
Quelle
is
bande de
game
trolls.
design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this
Il est tout
game,
petit.
I will be phenomenally impressed.
Il est tout petit. Oui, c'est Rocket
Okay,
League.
so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley.
Ah oui,
here's the ball. Have
Stanley
fun.
Parable, c'est vraiment une ode aux jeux vidéo, quoi.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery
Tout ça,
shop.
ça a été
I
rajouté,
simply
oui.
have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls!
Quelle bande de trolls, quoi.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time because guess
Oui,
what?
va expliquer à Roger ou à Geneviève que Stanley Parable est un jeu
This is
amusant.
my
Après,
game,
amusant
and
n'est pas le
what
mot,
I
mais
say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you
après,
need
je pense pas que je le
someone like
finirai
me
ce
to
soir
set
non plus, quoi. Il est
boundaries for you.
23h30.
Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I am structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you'd like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Après, je peux toujours essayer de sauter là dans les cages, quoi. Ça me que c'est une sorte de trou.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Je pense que c'était la seule fois possible.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Ah merde, putain. Pour le coup, je vois tellement rien avec. Putain, la vache. Enfin, oui, non, mais là, par contre, ça fout vraiment le vertige, le nombre de fins possibles. Enfin, là, je suis en train de me reprojeter sur tout ce que j'ai fait. Là, ces 10 dernières minutes. Putain, mais laisse tomber, quoi. Enfin, entre le bébé, le renting des notes, les portes, une tentative, deux tentatives, trois tentatives pour les portes, etc. Enfin, oui, mais là, il y a 10 fins possibles, quoi. Il faudrait les noter. Oui, 427, c'est le bureau de Stanley. Ok. What?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Bon, les rails, j'ai un petit léger coup de barre. Mais il y a un peu de durée de vie, c'est cool, il y a pas mal de trucs à faire là. Ouais. Je vais quitter, puis je relancerai le jeu probablement. La suite est en pause, lol. Mais je relancerai probablement, ouais, incessamment demain ou ce week-end, quoi, tranquillou. Mais ouais, non, mais quel jeu de ouf! Incroyable, enfin, ça m'a remis, certaines fins m'ont remis sur le cul. Bon, après 20 balles, je regrette un peu de les avoir mis quand même, quoi. Je me dis que j'aurais peut-être pu le télécharger sur PC, vu qu'en plus c'est un jeu source, ça aurait très bien tourné, peut-être même sur le PC portable. Petite déception d'avoir claqué du fric là-dedans, mais bon, ça fait plaisir de rincer les développeurs. Bon bah les reils, je vous fais des zoubis.